mean, within our lifetimes.
Yeah. This is the book that I was referring to.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. Yeah.
I mean, just for everybody's sake,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe,
I know that's been around for a while.
Yeah, early '80s or mid '80s, right? And I think Ra identifies himself as multiple entities, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
I'm around people who know this forward and backward, and I'm not one of them. This is the first one I've got, and I read some of it, and I went, and it really wasn't. What's the word? Resonating with me?
Yeah, doesn't resonate with you?
Not that much.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
I found it very interesting, but and alternatively, there's. Excuse me, just a sec.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
I can't lay my hands on it right now, but there's another book that's almost as old, and that's the Barbara Marciniak.
Oh yeah, Bringers of the Dawn.
Yeah, there's a series of 3 books there that he seems to have more of a favorable leaning towards, and those, on the other hand, did resonate with me.
Well, and she says Enki's the good guy. It's like, yeah, people are free to think whatever they want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine, but I'm pretty sure that as more information comes out, people are going to change their opinion. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're sharing this information, is to just help people be more well informed.
Right.
I realize it's very offensive sometimes when we say some of these things. It's not easy. No. Nobody wants to feel like, I was doing something wrong, or I was tricked. I mean, believe me, when I finally figured out that what this character that had confronted me was, because all he said, he was a father, right?
Yeah.
And he believes that. Honestly, he really believes it, even though it's not true. But he, like I said, he definitely suffers from multiple personality disorders, so you never know who you're dealing with. And the same is probably true for his son, Ra, Lucifer. Ra is all Marduk, Satan, whatever you want to call him. He definitely has a lot of personality problems too. This is why they traumatize us. It's not just for energy that's released, but they know that they can break us and become dissociative. In other words, they fragment our soul. And in so doing, it makes it much easier to control. Mm-hmm. So at least it further makes us like them, sort of ensuring that we will go along with their program because we've become like them. And it's pretty hideous, but that it's just one of the things that one of the techniques that they absolutely insist upon is trauma. Mm-hmm. Through all their rituals, you see this is trauma based, and even the religions, it's like. It's all about that. So yeah, these are not easy topics to talk about. You know what?
So one of the things though that I think that you do address, and I think Wes addresses too. I haven't really gotten into it yet because I found the other stuff so fascinating. And also just so people know, I don't know about you, but there, I've kind of gone through a trial by fire. I mean, I used to try to teach people about apologetics in the Bible. I was involved in the home church movement. I was involved in the unincorporated church movement. Trying to get Christian churches out from underneath the foot of the government. And so I've been chasing the rabbit and making a lot of left turns. Getting to here. So, I have 3,000 pounds of wheat out in my storage container because of Y2K. So you go through a few of those, and then you start to gain some humility, and you go, wow, it didn't really hurt that bad to be wrong. But the problem for a lot of people is that they're not willing to make the mistake, so they stop looking, and. So now is not the time to stop looking, because looking can potentially pay huge rewards. I think so.
Yeah. Look, making a mistake is not bad if you learn from it.
Right. Don't stop.
Okay. So
it's not a sign to stop. It's just a sign to maybe you weren't looking under the right rock. That's okay. There's lots of rocks out there.
Look, the other problem is that we're being misled intentionally.
Yes.
by a power structure that is designed to keep us subjugated. That's the real issue here. And I know it's very discomforting, but if we don't recognize this now, I think there's a very good chance a lot of us are going to fall for the ultimate lie. I mean, this is the other thing, that one of the other titles that Lucifer has is the father of all lies. And it's because he's insane. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And the people around him are infected by this psychosis as well. So
like I was saying, sorry, Robert, both you and Wes allude to the fact there is a way forward. And, and so let's talk about that for a bit, because
he seems to think the only way we can get out of here is after we die. Mm-hmm. And which may be true. I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Right.
And I think what he's talking about is very interesting. It's it's an opportunity. That's one of the articles that I have linked up on my website, and in my the articles as well as library section is his how to escape the death trap. Mm-hmm. That we're all being recycled back down here, forced to forget. Yeah, keyword. We are. We're being
keyword.
Yeah, it's not reincarnated. It's recycled. Recycled. They somehow trick us into thinking that we are tricking us into choosing into coming back down here, as opposed to leaving the trap. And so this is kind of important for us to realize that we even have an option.
Right.
But it's I know it sounds counterintuitive, but one of the steps that he suggests is do not go to the light.
Right.
Because the light that we see and know is his creation. So again, he's called the light bearer for a reason. I mean, he definitely is a radiant being. I've seen that light of his, but as far as the light that we're allowed to see is a very, very narrow spectrum or frequency within a massive amount of frequencies. He's only showing us a little tiny portion. And that is, again, much like the electricity coming through the wall, the light that we're seeing here is highly controlled, and it has a specific frequency or pattern in it that is helping to keep us hypnotized.
Right.
Just like there's energy coming off of Saturn, right? It's coming to us and it's lowering everybody's vibratory rate down to this heavy physical, crazy stuff. It's like a cement suit. Mm-hmm. The way our spirit was never designed to be in this vibratory frequency, but he tricked us and trapped us to coming here. We're stuck here, and it's ridiculous how heavy this place is.
How do you envision the way forward given these circumstances?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think as we were talking about these different energies that are coming onto the planet, higher waveforms are penetrating through his universe, into his universe, and into our solar system, and it's causing everybody's consciousness to raise up. But I do think that there is possibility, the way it was shown to me, because when I asked how is this going to be resolved, what I saw coming was a super wave of energy that would wash over the planet, and at that point everybody's DNA would be reactivated fully, and they would suddenly have full connectivity to the web of light that already pre-exists. Even though he created his little synthetic whatever, it is still part of the greater cosmos, which is all connected through, I mean, science calls it entanglement, but I saw it as a web of light, or I was shown this web of light that everything is connected to everything else. And we can be disconnected at times, but that's more, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist anymore. It just means that we're not aware of it. It's like you can unplug from the internet right now,
right,
but the internet will still be there, right? It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So at some point in the future, I saw everybody waking up because of this wave of energy washing over the planet. I think it has to come at a strategic time. Like I said, there has to be a lot of preparation before we come to that massive wave that wakes us up. But A lot of people. So again, this is what we're doing. We're sort of preparing people for that, to getting them ready to hopefully make a good decision. Because once you get there, you're going to see things that it won't be just like a conversation anymore. It's going to be like a realization, like, holy crap, what are all these entities doing in my room? It's like, why do they have all these weird things attached to me? And it's like, oh my God. So it's going to be like, a lot of people are going to say, well, screw this. I'm not going to stay here. I want out. And at that point, I think they will be, once they make that choice, they're going to be assisted to leave. But there's going to be a lot. There will be some, like I told you earlier, there'll be some people that don't want to leave, even though they'll be fully aware of it now, of what's going on. Again, this is like the Matrix. Okay, what were they trying to do? They were trying to wake people up. They couldn't wake everybody up all at the same time, but they started picking out people and showing them like, oh, this is the reality, and it was shocking, obviously. But they never wanted to go, well, except for that one character. No, none of them ever wanted to go back into the Matrix, right? Other than to help other people get out.
Right.
So I really see that's what's going to happen, is that quite a few of us are going to leave at that point. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Leave to where?
Wherever you want. At that point, you go back into the original or the true universe, which is part of an infinite number of universes that people call the omniverse or the multiverse.
So you don't really envision it as a new Earth scenario.
I mean, there could be a parallel Earth, but
you see it's some kind of a division, though. Some kind
completely. Yeah, but like I said, I don't even, if there's another Earth-like planet that is not controlled by Enki and his minions, then yeah, that I'm sure a lot of us would choose to go there if we were given that opportunity. But again, the main thing is first making a good choice to get out of here, recognizing this is a prison, and saying, wait a second, I'm innocent. I don't even remember how I got here, or if whatever. Something like along those lines is, okay, I realize I'm in a prison now. No, I don't want to be here anymore.
So you don't envision the prison itself being transformed by that wave?
Not really. Well, here's the thing. It will accelerate the collapse of Enki's empire greatly, and at some point, everybody's going to have to leave because it's unsustainable. And when a lot of us leave here, I think it won't just be here. I think it's going to be across Earth is sort of just like a microcosm of what's going on throughout the other worlds. And it is special in the sense that, based on what Wes has reported, that there was a lot of attention paid here. There was a lot of DNA, a diversity of DNA brought from all over the Orion Empire.
The living library, he called it.
Yeah, and that if it had gone well, they would have used that as a blueprint for all the other inhabited worlds, which would be great. But Enki intervened. See, this is the part that Wes didn't have. He thought, like most people who have a very religious view, not saying Wes is, but he thought, based on what little we've been told about Lucifer, he thought that it was a problem with his ego, and then he just decided to start a civil war. He didn't know why. West had no idea why Enki was passed over for the kingship. Other than he thought it was just his ego, that he was being a prick, and that he wasn't collaborating with his parents. But when I showed him that information, I said, well, wait a second, it's possible that he went mad, and his parents told him, we can't let you ascend to the throne. You can never be a king of this empire because you're insane. You're not well enough to do that. And so that's when he started the Civil War, or the war in heaven, as some people call it, which is a family feud. And, again, when all this stuff is speculative, right? I mean, we can't prove any of these things right now, okay? Because I think we should have been given access to this information a long time ago. If everything was normal, we would already know all these things.
To me, it's immensely valuable because, one of the things that Corey Good said that I think is very valuable despite all the controversy around him, is that keep your reality bubble permeable, and
Yes.
and as soon as you start getting locked into certain ways of looking at things, it just limits your ability to entertain new pieces of information and refine your worldview. And it doesn't mean that everybody's worldview needs to be the same or whatever, but just that act of researching while staying centered is immensely valuable. If nothing else, that you're just kind of softening up the morphogenic field so other people can explore as well. And you don't have to say anything to them. You can just be around them, and you act like an open door. That's how I envision it, So that's one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, because you got a different drum you're beating on, and it's very intriguing and very helpful. I think.
Well, oh, thanks. It's just for me, yes, I've been always remain open to new information. I don't really make up my mind about anything. In fact, I don't believe anything that is presented to me, but I'm open to at least analyzing it, researching it, and see because it's sort of like trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle and not knowing what the end result is.
Yeah, well,
which is really tough.
One of your good analogies is like a 9-dimensional chess game.
Yeah.
So the map doesn't come in 3D for that. And our map in this reality is mostly a 3D phenomenon. So we're trying to draw on other dimensional pieces of information to put this thing together. So just reading something and going, "Oh yeah, that's true," is you're doing yourself a huge disservice.
Yeah, it could be true. It could be accurate, but so this is the thing. Does it fit? If you find another piece, does it fit? If you get some pieces over here that all fit, that's great, but you can't force them to fit with somewhere else so that they don't belong. And here's the thing. When I worked at Honda, one of the things I was doing was creating timelines.
Oh, interesting.
So we would chart out the timeline, and from that you could see certain correlations. In other words, you could see behavioral changes based on new technologies. And so this is how we would chart it out over time. So I got really good at that, and but I realized that our timeline has been badly distorted. Again, they don't want to give us enough information to fill it out, to actually see the progression of things that are happening to us. They give us false information to put on our timeline, and then you come up with a completely bogus analysis. Mm-hmm. And so this is the problem. I don't know exactly what's really happening. We're having a general discussion about what I think has happened based on 31 years of research and experiences, but I could be 100% wrong on all of this stuff, and I think anybody, like we said before, anybody who says that they have the definitive answer is full of it and or deluded, And here's the thing: I also know how easy it is to fall into that trap, thinking that you have the truth above all others. That is something that they do to us a lot. These Luciferians are really good at that, baiting us. So we become useful idiots to them. And it's not just Corey Good. There's a lot of people that claim they're making some really good. And here's the thing: I know he believes what he says. That doesn't make it accurate. Because he could have been fed a bunch of lies. He could absolutely be brainwashed into believing all kinds of stuff happened, and then he's just passing it on. There's a lot of people like that in this community. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that everything that we are being told is false. It's really difficult to find out what is accurate and what is completely bogus. But in my estimation, we have a right to know the truth. Okay? Whether we're actually ever going to get to that in our life, I don't know. But, obviously the Vatican's hiding quite a bit of information. They do know some stuff.
Yes.
But even they have a limited access. Pentagon, same way. I don't think that they really know all of what's going on, but they do know. If you've ever watched what Tom DeLonge is saying now, he's claiming all kinds of things, right? But it's not completely out of the norm. Yes, there are people in our government that know that there are dark forces. Mm-hmm. They've actually tried to make deals with them.
Right.
And that's part of the public record. It's really obvious. I mean, I wrote about it specifically in my second book, Covert Encounters in Washington, D.C., in the conclusion. It's obvious that the elite of this world are working with the dark forces, whether you call them Luciferian or satanic. It's all the same thing to me.
Right.
And they're well aware of it. Okay? They just don't want us to become too familiar with that, as a matter of fact, because we would get upset and start to rebel, and they know that.
Yeah.